Hello and welcome back everyone. This is going to be a very quick video on setting up our VS Code environment for C and C++ programming. Alright, so C or C++ both are compiled language. So first we need the compiler. This setup is for Windows 11 I'm currently using, and in this computer I'm going to set up it. So first step would be we will set up the compiler, which is a minimalist GNU compiler, and in the later stage of the video we'll set up the VS Code environment. So if you only need to set up the VS Code, then you can feel free to skip to this particular timestamp. Alright, so let's get into the compiler setup. Let me just search with MinGW. This is very popular minimalist GNU compiler for Windows. I can simply download it, or it should start downloading after a few seconds, precisely 5 seconds. And yeah, it has prompted me for the download, and I can save at my preferred location. Here I can open the setup, double click it to open it, install, very simple. I'm installing this into C and MinGW, this directory. I'll simply continue, and it should download or do something, whatever it's supposed to do. Download in progress. So it's going to download few of the binaries. Some binaries like make, GCC or G++ and some other stuffs. Alright, it has completed the process. I'll continue with it. Okay, so in the basic setup, we need the GCC and G++ package. So we'll click on it to mark for installation. Then here coming to installation, apply changes and apply. So I think it has downloaded and installed it. The compiler is installed. We also need to set up the path variable so that at any point of time from any of the terminal we can get access to the compilers. So we can run gcc, then some C file to compile it. Alright, so the setup is complete. I mean the compiler setup is done. So here, C. In C drive there is a folder MinGW, and inside the bin you can see a lot of binaries like gcc. This is the C compiler, G++ is the C++ compiler. So this path we need to set up in the path environment. So we can copy it here. Coming to search, we can set up for edit system environment variables. So here for the user, like for me, I can set up here. Simply double click it, paste it and click OK. Then here in the system, for the system we can do the same thing. I think it is already done, but if it is not there, you can simply click here and paste it. So that's how you can change or add the environment. Now what happens, like why did you do that? Because now from here we can have access to this. See, GCC version we can get, G++ version we can get. So these two compilers are already installed. We can get access to it. Now let me just open VS Code. So in VS Code there is a very small program. There is a C++ program written for like hello world. Nothing very fancy. Let me just open the terminal. From here what we can do, we can simply G++ and let me just provide first.cpp. So and put O for the output file. The output file can be very similar like to this introduction and first.exe. Yeah, so it has compiled and gave me the executable fast.exe. So from this exe we can run the exe. It's very simple. Let me just enter into the directory, and here we can simply do first dot exe and see hello world, this is from cpp file. Hee. All right, so that's how we can run our C++ or C program using the compiler to build the file and then run the file. But this is a cumbersome process. Now here comes the VS Code setup. So what we can do, we'll try to run the program, but before that we need some extensions. So if we come here and let me just search for C++. This is a very standard extension. So I'll just install 3 of them so that we get the themes, syntax highlighting, and also some other good stuff. This is coming from Microsoft, so don't you worry on that. First.cpp, and I want to run it. How do I run that? If we click here, the problem with this, the compiler is not detected, but we know that our compiler is already installed. If you have already got that, well and good. If not, follow me. So yeah, it doesn't exist because I haven't configured anything in the launch.json. Cool. So that is a launch.json. I'll simply add a configuration. C++ Windows launch. Yeah, that's it. That small step is required. Choose the Windows launch thing. C++. If you click on here, add configuration, choose this one. C++ Windows launch. So we got our configuration. This is the launching. This is only for launching our file. We need to build it. So the previous step is always building. Once we build something, then we have to run that. So here we can give a pre-launch task. Pre-launch task will name it as cpp build. This is a custom name, and in the tasks.json file we'll add it. So we need one more file which is tasks.json. This should be a pretty straightforward file. Version is totally fine. Then we are going to add tasks. Tasks is an array type. The type you can mention cpp build. You can provide the label. The label also as cpp build. Command. The command that is required. So since we have set our environment, or our G++ compiler can be found from the path, we can simply do this. For arguments, what is the argument? The argument should be the set of commands or flags that we want to provide to our G++ command. In general, people does generate bug report, then the actual file. The file should be our file directory. This is custom, so you can do whatever you feel like. Inside file directory, it should be the file name. Now the file name is done. Now we'll provide the output. We need to provide the output file. -o. O stands for output. The output should be provided here where I want. Same as in the file directory name, and The name should be file base name, no extension .exe, because at the end the file should be executable. So that is most probably it, and few other things also we can provide it here. Okay, so the second thing that we need to do is maybe group build, and here also I think I forgot one thing. This type should be shell, this should be a cell. Then group is fine, we can't provide it as is default to true. From here build we can modify. Here kind should be build. The next thing that we need to provide is presentation. The presentation is Revel should be the Revel should be silent, and panel should be dedicated, and other things we can remove it. And my tasks for building is completed. So my level is CPP build, and the same thing I have provided here, pre-launch task as CPP build. So you have to make sure that the pre-launch task name should be same as the level of these tasks. The task configuration. So I'm telling VS Code to first do these tasks because I have provided that as a pre-launch. So first build it, and then after building, launch it. So here in the launch.json, one more thing is required, that we need to configure this thing. So for configuring the program, we want to run it. The program should be file dir name, so file directory name, and then same like file base name, no extension .exe. I can modify the launch name also, because so that I can find run C++ program. So the launch name is changed. Alright, so one more small modification we need to do for this argument. Since we also want to have the active file, we can simply remove this. Instead of providing the whole path, we can simply give the file as the input. So this shouldn't happen. So here now if we want to run it, we can run it from here. And it runs my program. Hello world, this is from the CPP file. One more thing that we can do is as follows. We can provide the input as well. Let me just take scanf percent s and then name maybe. So I can provide char 10 character name, and the variable name is name. I'll take this name. Scanf is totally fine. Now also what we can do, we can print thank you, and then provide the name. This should work. It is providing some error. Okay, so this should be char name then. So that was my mistake. So what we can do, we can do the same process, F5 to build it, and if I provide my name here, it is expecting the input. Thank you, Amit. So it provides me the output. So yeah, and that's how we can run our C and C++ code in VS Code without any fancy IDE, which is very outdated. You can directly code from VS Code. That's how we'll do that. Thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoyed and you got something. Thank you very much.